Coming up on today's edition of Locked On Eagles, I want to go through the 2022 schedule, take a look at each of the quarterback battles between Jalen Hurts and the Eagles' opponents next season and see who has the quarterback advantage. That's coming up next on today's edition of your daily Philadelphia Eagles podcast, Locked On Eagles.
You are Locked On Eagles, your daily Philadelphia Eagles podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Thank you so much for making Locked On Eagles your first listen each and every day. Welcome in, Eagles fans, to a Tuesday edition of the show. It's episode 2 this week of 5. Download it into your phone wherever you get the podcast, free and available on all podcast platforms in audio form. Also, always Talking Birds on YouTube. We have the show in full on video, Locked On Birds on YouTube. Got exclusive YouTube content as well all throughout the week, and always hit us up on Twitter at Locked On Birds and at DiBiase LOE. So as I teased in the cold open, I want to get into today how many times the Eagles have the quarterback advantage in the 2022 season, because I feel like last year with Jalen Hurts in his first season, there were a lot of times you went into the game, and how many times did we pose this question on Locked On Eagles? Can Jalen Hurts today head into a game against Patrick Mahomes, head into a game against Tom Brady, head into a game against Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott, Derek Carr, the list goes on, heck, even Matt Ryan week 1. Sometimes he went toe-to-toe with those quarterbacks. Justin Herbert, I felt like he did that in November. Thought he did the same thing against Matt Ryan week 1. He was clearly the better quarterback in that season opener. But there were a lot of times last year we had to ask the question, like, on paper, the Buccaneers clearly have the advantage here. The Chargers clearly have the advantage. The Chiefs, the Raiders, and it ended up panning out where the Eagles needed Jalen Hurts to go toe-to-toe with that star quarterback who was throwing all over Jonathan Gannon's defense, and Hurts was not able to really step up in that area. And that's exactly how the season ended in Tampa Bay against Tom Brady. Now this year he's got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith in year 2, Dallas Goedert as well, Miles Sanders, Kenny Gainwell. Like, this is a loaded offense. Now we'll see if he can make the step and be a guy that, look at that Chiefs-Bills playoff game last year when you need to throw 30 to 40 times in a football game and win the game 40 to 35, that you have a dog in that fight. You have a quarterback that's got those same guns, that has those same abilities. Like, when you are in a heavyweight fight and it's blow for blow, exchange for exchange, do you have a quarterback that can win in that kind of battle? So I want to go through the season because, to be honest, we want to have that question answered with Jalen in year 2. And we will no matter what, because, again, they don't play the quarterbacks. It's not Hurts versus the quarterback on the field. So we'll just know based on his performance against really good defenses this year. So there's not a lot of great quarterbacks for Hurts to really size himself up against, but there are a lot of quarterbacks that I think you could argue are in his tier or in the one just right above him or right below him. That I want to go through an exercise and see, like, how many times do they have the advantage this year with Jalen? Again, he's not going to have a ton of opportunities to show that, he can go toe-to-toe with a star quarterback, but you'll know through performance, and you'll know if he's taking that next step, if he's outshining some of these other players that right now on paper you would argue are in his same tier. So let's start off this exercise, and we're going to start with the season opener in Detroit, Michigan, with a former first overall pick in Jared Goff. Who has the advantage in this game at quarterback? I think it's clearly the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, Jared Goff is the first overall pick. Jared Goff right now is a more accurate passer. He has better overall arm talent. He has made a Super Bowl. Jared Goff can be a good player for sure. But I think it's pretty clear, and we saw this last year when the Eagles blew out Detroit, that Jalen Hurts is clearly the more dynamic talent. Like, we'll see if the Eagles replace Hurts with a better player that has a better ceiling. We know already a team has done that with Jared Goff. The Los Angeles Rams replaced Jared Goff with Matt Stafford. What happens? They go on to win the Super Bowl. I think, yeah, Goff is a better passer right now. But when you combine the improvements I think Hurts can make through the air this year with the better weapons that he has the superior weapons to Goff. Although I do like Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown and DJ Chark. Like, the Lions do have better weapons this year. I think Hurts isn't that far off when it comes to overall arm talent. It's not like Jared Goff. Again, like, yeah, he's accurate and got really good touch, but he doesn't have a Josh Allen arm. Like, Jalen Hurts in the arm strength department, I think, is right there. But you combine the mobility on top of it too. Jared Goff has none of that. And that's a huge reason Goff had a certain ceiling. Like, he was already capped. And it's why for me in 2016, I was praying when the Eagles traded up to number 2 that it was only for Carson Wentz. And I was praying the Rams did not take Wentz with that first overall pick back in 2016. So overall, I just think Hurts is night and day when it comes to a dynamic athlete that can make plays outside of structure. I think accuracy-wise, he's going to certainly improve this year, processing as well. In arm strength, like, Goff doesn't blow Hurts out of the water. So you combined all of that with Hurts just also being on a better football team. And I think Jared Goff is the worst quarterback in this game. I think the Eagles have the quarterback advantage week 1, 100%. Week 2, a little more interesting. I think Kirk Cousins is just another notch above Jared Goff, right? But, for the same reasons that I like Jalen Hurts over Jared Goff, I like Jalen Hurts over Kirk Cousins. Like, yeah, is Kirk Cousins a better passer right now than Jalen? 100%. And the Eagles have had some really bad luck with Kirk Cousins, 2018, 2019. They got smacked around by Minnesota and Kirk. That happened too in Washington when Kirk had Deshaun Jackson, 2014, 2015. They sent the Eagles home packing a couple times late in the season, and Kirk really has had Philadelphia's numbers. So not looking forward to playing Cousins, and he does have Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen and Dalvin Cook and KJ Osborne. But you got to remember, this game, this exercise is quarterback versus quarterback. Like, who has the advantage between the actual two players? Who are you more scared of? What defense is fearing that quarterback more? And although, again, Kirk has a better arm, consistently surpassing 4,000 passing yards, and he's got a lot of weapons, I would fear playing Jalen Hurts way more than Kirk right now. A improved Jalen in year 3, to me, is going to be a better football player overall than Kirk Cousins. Again, we're talking quarterback advantage here. So although he needs to be way better for me as a passer to be sure Jalen Hurts is the franchise quarterback, you can't discount the running when it comes to what just overall player has the advantage on this schedule. So I think it's 2-0 Jalen Hurts over Jared Goff and Kirk Cousins. This one, everybody knows my answer to this one, and you are all going to be angry and disagree with me because of your personal vendetta and your overall feelings about the former man. This is the ex against the new girl. Of course you're going to go with the new girl, right? Everybody's going to go with Jalen Hurts over Carson Wentz when the Eagles travel to Washington, D.C. But guys, overall, Carson Wentz is a better football player than Jalen Hurts right now. He is. That doesn't mean by the end of 2022 that I'll be saying the same thing. Is Jalen Hurts safer right now? Yeah. Does he implode like Carson Wentz? No. Does he make the boneheaded plays that Carson Wentz does? No. Does he know when to say die and, stay alive to the next play? Way better, for sure. I think Jalen Hurts, if somebody's going to implode in these football games, it's definitely Carson, especially these games mean more to him. They're emotional. He wants to stick it to Philadelphia. Not that Jalen doesn't have anything riding on these games, but, Carson, there's a better chance he implodes, but also there's a way better chance if you told me somebody threw for 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no picks, I put my money on Carson Wentz. He's a better arm talent. He still has mobility, not to Jalen's ability in space, but he does have mobility, can make plays outside of structure still. You saw some times last year, like with Carson Wentz, it's always no, 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 no. And a lot of the time it's no, no, no. And you keep saying no, but sometimes you're like, no, 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 yes, yes, yes. And he finds a way to make passes that only a few quarterbacks can make in the NFL. Like, he still does have that kind of arm talent and that ability at times that I think maybe right now Jalen just doesn't have. And I think overall with his arm talent may never have. So I still think, and especially with Washington's offense, with Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and Curtis Samuel as his wide receiver trio, I think Carson Wentz right now has the advantage. I think Washington has the quarterback advantage with Wentz over Hurts. And then here's another reunion. Doug Peterson comes back to Philadelphia week 4 with Jacksonville. The Jaguars are in town. And Trevor Lawrence, the first overall pick of the 2021 NFL draft, he was not good in his rookie year. But why I give the Jaguars the advantage here with Trevor Lawrence, what Trevor Lawrence was last year, throw that out the window. He had Urban Meyer as his head coach. The structure was chaos. How you're supposed to carry an organization through that mess. I think Urban Meyer is the worst NFL coach maybe in league history. His weapons were horrible. It was Marvin Jones and a banged up DJ Chark and a struggling Laviska Shenault. I'm telling you, I really believe in the impact Doug Peterson's going to have on Lawrence in the second year. And he's, to me, we already know the generational talent that he is with his size and arm strength and mobility. You've seen the year two jumps from quarterbacks, especially of that talent. The Eagles saw it themselves with Carson Wentz in 2017. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a really good season, and I think he's going to be a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. So I think that the Jaguars have the advantage over the Eagles with Lawrence over Hurts. And then the Eagles head to the desert to take on Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. I think this is one of the better quarterbacks the Eagles play in 2022. I think it's the second best quarterback they play all year behind Aaron Rodgers, who we'll get to later on. And I don't think there's a huge gap here. Like Kyler Murray, there's a pretty big gap when it comes to arm talent. But, you know, Kyler Murray's not a top-tier quarterback. He's shown he has an MVP level in him that Jalen doesn't have. And that's why I definitely give the Cardinals the advantage here with Kyler. But I don't think it would be crazy if Jalen Hurts outplays Kyler. Like mobility-wise, they're the same. I think Murray's a little faster, but I think Hurts is more shifty and more powerful. And again, I don't think Hurts has the implosion capability that Kyler does, kind of like Carson Wentz, but Murray overall has a gear that Jalen hasn't showed yet. You saw it in the beginning of the 2021 season, 2020 as well. I think Kyler Murray is the superior talent right now to Jalen Hurts, 100%. So, you know, I think 3 weeks in a row with Carson Wentz, Trevor Lawrence, and Kyler Murray, I think actually the other team has the advantage. And I think that continues with Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. I think Dak Prescott right now clearly is a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. And again, this is all on paper in May, so take it with a grain of salt. But I think Dak Prescott is the ceiling for Jalen Hurts. I think Dak Prescott and what he's been the last few years is what maybe the Eagles hope. And I don't know if that's going to be good enough, but I think that's what the Eagles hope that Jalen will become. And then let's do one more before we take a break and we get through the first half of the season when it comes to quarterback advantages. And I think when it comes to the Eagles and the Steelers, Jalen Hurts versus the only first-round selection at quarterback in the 2022 NFL Draft, Kenny Pickett. I think it's clear that Jalen Hurts and the Eagles have the advantage here. I liked Matt Corral better than Hurts. I liked Malik Willis. I actually even liked Desmond Ridder. I like those three prospects a lot more than most. One guy that I said over and over again on the podcast I would not take over Jalen Hurts was Kenny Pickett. By the way, they're the same age right now at 24 years old, which is absolutely wild. It's not like Pickett has a superior arm. It's not like he has superior mobility. It's not like he's really that much bigger. Hand size, he's significantly smaller in that department. There's really nothing special about Kenny Pickett that puts him over Jalen Hurts. Like, is he a better processor right now and an anticipation thrower? I would say so. But Jalen Hurts, to me, has him when it comes to taking deep shots, when it comes to the aggressiveness, explosive plays. Pickett can definitely run, but Hurts has him in the mobility department at all, for sure, too. There's just nothing really special about Kenny Pickett. And right now, I wouldn't say there's a ton special about Jalen Hurts, but there's a better chance that Jalen Hurts is special in 2022 than Kenny Pickett. I just don't see much with Kenny. I think Jalen Hurts is definitely the better player right now. So that is the first half of the season. Ladies and gentlemen, today's edition of Locked On Eagles is brought to you by Built Bar. Look at this. Imagine dipping your finger into that plastic tub of birthday cake frosting. Oh my gosh, I used to love doing that with vanilla frosting. And then opening your eyes and realizing that it was only 150 calories and 16 grams of protein. That's what it's like to eat the birthday cake puffs from Built Bar. Check these things out. It is the marshmallow-infused protein bars from Built Bar. Absolutely delicious. And if you like birthday cake flavor, who doesn't like birthday cake? Make sure you check out these incredible Built Puff Bars, birthday cake flavors at built.com. And again, it's not just the birthday cake flavors, but there's so many other amazing Built Bars covered in 100% chocolate. They're soft and easy to chew. And as I said, it's a healthy alternative to your everyday candy bar that most of the time is over 230 calories, and there's a tons of grams of sugar packed in those things. Well, again, Built Bar is all of that flavor and none of the guilt. I highly recommend getting yourself, like I did, a box of the birthday cake marshmallow puff bars. They also have cinnamon churro flavor, banana cream pie. Just again, Built is killing the protein bar game. It is not even close at this point. Head over to built.com, see all the amazing variety for your taste buds, and use the promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Once again, use the promo code LOCKED15, that's LOCKED15, for 15% off at built.com. I think Jalen Hurts has the advantage over a good amount of players. Let's count that up. So right now, he has the advantage over Jared Goff and Kirk Cousins and Kenny Pickett. So that's 3. And then let's see, we gave Wentz, Trevor Lawrence, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott the advantage. So it's 4-3 in favor of the Eagles' opponents in 2022 when it comes to who has the advantage at quarterback. Let's keep going here. And let's get into, after the bye week, they play Pittsburgh, they play Kenny Pickett, and things start to get, I think, a little easier here in the quarterback department. Again, it's not a daunting season when it comes to who you're playing at quarterback, but I think the first half is way better. Like Goff, Cousins, Wentz, Lawrence, Murray, Prescott. Like that's a pretty good 6-week stretch. Now, coming up, the big test with Aaron Rodgers comes up later on, but I think it gets a lot easier, and that happens right here, week 9 against the Houston Texans and Davis Mills, a 3rd-round pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. The Texans really like what they have in Mills. I thought he was actually pretty good down the stretch last year. I think he held his own. He really formed chemistry with Brandon Cooks, but Jalen Hurts has the advantage overall. Like, Jalen Hurts is a better player. He's a more dynamic athlete. Again, Davis Mills is good, but I think Houston's kidding themselves if they're not next year thinking about CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, maybe even Will Levis or Anthony Richardson, the prospects in the 2023 draft. I don't think Mills is ever going to get to that point. Like, I think between these two, like, both teams are in wait and see mode. They've got 2 first-round picks in 2023. They want to give these young second-year starters an opportunity to take the job. I think 99% of people, maybe that's too aggressive, but I think it's pretty close for me, would take, if they put their money on one of these guys, convincing their team they don't need to take a quarterback next year in the draft, I think that is definitely Jalen Hurts over Davis Mills. And then, of course, we've got Carson Wentz again coming home week 10 for Monday Night Football. Again, for the same reasons as before, I give Carson Wentz the advantage. Although in this game, there's a lot more pressure. This, to me, is an all-or-nothing game for Carson Wentz. You're not getting a conservative approach. And Ron Rivera can have a certain game plan all he wants, but Carson Wentz is either throwing for 400 yards, 6 touchdowns, and no picks, like he did against Washington. Not to those numbers, of course, but in 2017 when he was an MVP, he's either doing that or he's throwing for 120 yards and throwing 4 picks. Like, there is no in between with this game. There is so much pressure. And I think there is pressure on Jalen Hurts too. Like, Jalen Hurts wants to show that we don't need to be thinking about Carson Wentz anymore. He does not want to go into this game, lose to Carson Wentz, and have everybody talking about what if. Like, oh, now our division opponent has our former franchise quarterback and they're reaping the benefits. Like, Jalen wants to make sure that those doubts are completely silenced and that his presence, him being drafted to Philadelphia, hasn't only resulted in negatives when it comes to the quarterback position about you potentially losing your guy because you selected Jalen. I don't think that's going to be the case. And again, we'll see what happens, but I do give Carson Wentz the advantage over Jalen twice this year. And then the Eagles play the Indianapolis Colts week 11. And if you ask me, like, this is close. I went back and forth with this one. I'm going to give Matt Ryan the advantage right now when it comes to who's the better quarterback in 2022, but this definitely has the potential to not be true if Jalen Hurts does grow. Like, I think we already know what Matt Ryan's going to be this year. We don't know yet what Jalen's going to be. So I think, but based on, this is more of a floor pick with Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan right now is a better quarterback. So on paper, I think the Colts do have the advantage. This was supposed to be the Hurts-Wentz game in Indianapolis, but instead it's Hurts versus Matty Ice. Last year, and again, a lot of listeners might disagree with me here because last year, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles went into Atlanta and they pummeled Matt Ryan and the Falcons. He was clearly the better quarterback. But I do think that Matt Ryan with the Colts is going to be rejuvenated in Frank Reich's system. We know what that can do for quarterbacks. Say what you want about Carson Wentz last year, but he did have 27 touchdowns and 7 picks, much improved from 2020. I think Matt Ryan right now has the advantage over Jalen. And then, of course, this is the game I'm circling for quarterback battles. Because as I laid out in segment 1, we've been looking for the last 2 years, especially after seeing the playoffs too. We've been looking for these games where Jalen takes on another star quarterback that has a chance to really light up the Eagles defense. Because we look at these games, and again, they don't play the quarterback, they play the defense. But why we circle quarterback matchups, is because there's an opportunity, there's a chance that this is going to be a shootout, that star quarterback is going to get the best of your defense. And to win the game, you need to win it on the backs, on the arm, on the shoulder and the arm of your quarterback. This year, this is really the only game, maybe outside of Arizona too earlier in the year with Kyler Murray, that I can see that kind of scenario playing out where Hurts is playing a superior quarterback. And we want to see, okay, Jalen, year 2, you couldn't do it last year. Can you go toe-to-toe with that guy? Because going through the gauntlet of the playoffs, you're going to have to prove that you can do that. So this is the game, week 12. Green Bay comes to Philadelphia. I want to see if Jalen Hurts can maybe not go toe-to-toe with Aaron Rodgers, but he can stay with him. He couldn't do it in year 1. Let's see if he can do it in year 2. Obviously, right now, the reigning MVP back-to-back has the advantage over Jalen Hurts. And then week 13 against the Tennessee Titans. This could be Malik Willis. Did you hear that southern twang I just gave you for a second? The Tennessee Titans? I think it's on brand for the team they're playing. I'm going to give the advantage to Jalen Hurts. I think he is Tannehill without A.J. Brown. I don't know. I think he's coming downhill. I think he's going to feel the pressure of Malik Willis. Tannehill in 2022 gives me Carson Wentz in 2020 vibes. Like those comments too about not being Malik's mentor. I've never been a big Tannehill supporter anyway. I think he really reaps the benefits of being in an offense that is so dependent on the run game, on the classic run game of Derrick Henry and play action. If Jalen Hurts takes a step this year, I think I'm nervous that an outcome for Jalen is being like a Tannehill kind of player, gets hot at times, is mobile. He's with a good team. The Eagles are consistently getting to the second round, but that's really it. The Titans are a nightmare scenario for me with the Eagles and with Hurts. But if Hurts does take another step this year, I think he's going to be better than Ryan Tannehill, especially considering he stole Tannehill's wide receiver 1. So even if it's Malik Willis, you guys know I love Malik. At this point, week 13, no matter what, I think Jalen has the advantage over the Titans and their quarterback, Ryan Tannehill. I don't think that I don't think Tennessee is going to do that well this year. I think the Colts are going to win the division, and I think the Titans are going to miss the playoffs. I think Tannehill, this is the year that he's coming downhill. Eagles fans, today's episode of Locked On Eagles is brought to you by RockAuto.com. Save time and money right now because gas prices are killing our wallets for those cars and trucks. So save time and money. Don't choose to spend 30, 50, even 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or a car dealership when you have Rock Auto at home and in your pocket. Their prices are reliably low for every customer. They're a family business that's been serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years, and they have everything you could need. They got brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, and even new carpet. Go explore their easy-to-use website today to find the solution to your auto part needs. And when you head to the website, rockauto.com right now to see all the parts available for your car or truck, make sure you write down Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know that we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. At Week 14, Jalen Hurts against the New York Giants and Daniel Jones. Advantage Jalen Hurts again. I don't really see what other people do in Daniel Jones. I hate his throwing motion. I've never been blown away with him. I've never seen a game where he takes over. Like even Jalen Hurts last year, he had his moments. Like there were games where he was kind of lights out, right? I mean, I think the Chiefs game, he was like that. I think the Chargers game, the Denver Broncos, there's another game I'm missing. The Washington game later on in the season, the New Orleans Saints. Like, there were a lot of games last year where I thought Jalen Hurts took over and was a game changer. How many times has Daniel Jones really took over a football game? Does he have a better arm right now and better passing upside? I'd say yeah, but I don't think enough. I think overall, Jalen Hurts is definitely the better quarterback in these games. And they play them again later on, and I think he's going to have the advantage again. So I think Hurts is the better quarterback over Daniel Jones. Some people may disagree with that, but I like Jalen over Jones. This game against the Chicago Bears, I think some people are going to disagree with me, but I actually have the advantage going to Jalen Hurts. Or I should say, Justin Fields. Excuse me there for a second. To me, I think Justin Fields has the advantage. This is the guy the Eagles passed on in 2021, 12th overall, to keep Jalen Hurts as the quarterback. Look, clearly Jalen, again, has the advantage when it comes to weapons. Justin Fields is being set up to fail right now. He has one of the worst offensive lines in football. He only has Darnell Mooney after Allen Robinson went to L.A. Velus Jones, the third-round pick out of Tennessee, who I did like at the Senior Bowl, but I think not enough to be a second receiver. I think he is their second best passing target this year. Might be David Montgomery, to be honest, at running back. And then Tariq Cohen just tore his Achilles. So he's not being set up right now. But Fields, I think overall, is a better player. He has the same mobility. I think last year he showed some moments. I think that flash against San Francisco late in the game, Pittsburgh late in the game on Monday Night Football. Year 2, he's a better passer. He's got better overall arm talent. I think Justin Fields, again, of all the year 2 quarterbacks, I think has the worst chance of taking a big step, but I still think he's going to be vastly improved in that system this year. In year 2, quarterbacks always take a step if they're going to, and I'm still a big believer in Justin Fields, so I give him the advantage over Jalen Hurts. And then again, I think Dak Prescott, as we mentioned earlier, has the advantage over Jalen. The Eagles play the Cowboys in Jerry World. Christmas Eve will be this game, and that is Week 16. Week 17, the Eagles take on the New Orleans Saints in Jameis Winston. This one was tight. Another toss-up. I'll give Winston and the Saints the advantage, though. 14 touchdowns and 3 interceptions last year was Winston's stat line before he got hurt. Was actually having kind of a quietly good year. And with Chris Olave now at receiver, with Michael Thomas coming back, with Jarvis Landry just signed, I think Winston, he's a former first overall pick for a reason. This guy threw for 5,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 30 picks a couple years ago, kind of like Carson Wentz. Jalen Hurts has the higher floor and probably has the safer performance in this football game, but Jameis Winston, I think, has the higher ceiling to kind of go off. This is going to be the toughest matchup Hurts has against the Saints. Jalen has had New Orleans' number the last 2 years, but in fairness, he got to play Taysom Hill and Trevor Siemian. He didn't get to play Drew Brees, didn't get to play Winston last year. We'll see if he plays Winston this year, but if he does, I think overall Winston has the advantage. And then we finish off the season, Week 18, Jalen Hurts against Daniel Jones. I think overall Jalen Hurts, again, has the advantage over Jones. So in total, Jalen has the advantage this year against 7 quarterbacks, and then the other team has the advantage 10 times. And again, you could sway me with Jameis Winston, with Justin Fields, with maybe even Matt Ryan. So it could have been the opposite. It could have been 10-7 in favor of Jalen. I think overall, the fact of the matter is the Eagles aren't going to be severely outgunned this year when it comes to quarterback battles. They don't really play a lot of star quarterbacks. And I think Jalen is just as good as a lot of these players. And I think he potentially has more upside than some of these guys to be better this year when we're talking about the actual game during the season than right now on paper. So overall, I don't know. I don't think people are going to be too outraged about that. Again, they'll probably disagree with the Carson Wentz thing. I think they would probably disagree with maybe Matt Ryan and maybe Justin Fields or Jameis Winston. But I do believe that those guys right now I'd rather have as my quarterback. Based on overall ability with their arm, upside, just a combination of, proven ability. But 7-10 is a lot better than what I would have had it last year, for sure. And as I said, I'm very willing to change that. I think you could easily persuade me the opposite direction on like 3 or 4 matchups, and it could be, 10-7 in favor of Jalen for sure. So overall, a fun, very even schedule for the Eagles this year when it comes to quarterbacks. Like Hurts, Winston, Fields, Tannehill, Cousins, Goff, Jones, Prescott, even Wentz. These are all, outside of Aaron Rodgers, these are all really close quarterback battles. And I'm really looking forward to that. I think that makes for more entertaining football is when the quarterbacks go toe-to-toe. And or they both struggle and the defenses take over the run game. Well, we'll see what happens. But overall, again, to go back to the schedule, I do personally feel like the NFL did good by the Eagles with these matchups and with who they're going to play at quarterback and with when they're on the road and when they're at home. Overall, not a lot of complaints with the 2022 schedule. Can't wait to get it going. It's May 17th. I need it to be September 17th. Really bad, but we'll get through it. We'll enjoy this summer, and we got you covered still Monday through Friday right here on Locked On Eagles, talking all things Philadelphia Eagles. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you get the show. We're in video form as well on YouTube. And make sure you please follow us on Twitter at Locked On Birds and at DiBiase LOE. Let me know what you think. Go through the schedule. Who do you think Jalen Hurts has the advantage over in these quarterback battles? And then let me know what you think on Twitter. As always, guys, thanks so much for making Locked On Eagles your first listen each and every day. Make sure the Locked On NFL podcast is your second listen. All the news across the league in under 30 minutes, free and available wherever you get your shows. As always, thank you for downloading. Thank you for listening and watching. And let's go Birds.